Good morning. Good morning. Today is Sunday, March 15th. Yes. St. Patrick's Day is in 2 days. Happy holiday to those who are Irish, and I guess we're all Irish on St. Patrick's Day, aren't we? But today is the 15th, the Ides of March. We had a beautiful reading yesterday. Nice combination at the end of just a tremendous blessing and a healing. I thought a little more about that Three of Swords cards that came up. The Three of Swords is actually also an opportunity for healing. And I've been meditating on the swords quite a bit, and did some journaling last night. And the swords are about curiosity, because if we put the swords down, right, we have something that we can actually kind of, parse things out with. We can kind of, be a little more clinical and, just like in 12th grade anatomy, where whatever your feelings are about that, good, bad, or different, but learn something about, use it as a tool. So when we're using our judgment, we're using truth, we're using communication as a tool to learn and to really learn. The air signs, the suit of swords is the suit of air, which is communication, which is truth, which is judgment, justice, decision. I'm going to slice this piece off and I'm not going to go there, but I'm going to go forward with this piece. Or when you're baking, I'm going to cut this piece of butter. I don't need this piece, but I'm going to put it in the refrigerator, not in the trash. So, let's think about that, in terms of like how we utilize our judgment. Just because we're making judgment calls doesn't mean that we're throwing things away. We're just moving them to a different place, not to be used at the moment. And so when we have these knee-jerk reactions to information, and then we're starting to use our swords in a really unskillful way, we're no longer in that place of inquiry and curiosity. We're using inquiry as a weapon. We're weaponizing what is actually a wonderful tool. Like I said, there's light and dark to everything. And as we move forward, and so again, like look back, you were doing the best with what you had at the time. So to use your own, and I posted this on my page a couple of weeks ago, to use the wisdom that you have now to, bludgeon your decision processes and your choices in the past, that's not, okay, it's great to know and to use it to take accountability. But when we literally take in information and then we breathe, air element, we breathe and we take a pause. Wow, how do I feel? And we're adding in the, suit of air. We're using water. How do I feel about this information? Ooh, it's really ruffling. It's like a wind can really, create quite a bit of turmoil on the surface of a body of water. Here in Washington, D.C., we had quite a windstorm 2 days ago. And I live on a reservoir. So, it was wild out there. But if we use the information to breathe, we use, again, that more intelligent use of that element. We breathe it in, to breathe fully, take it in, and then choose not to do anything about it. There weren't any action cards in that reading. It was just opportunity and healing and a pause. Surrender, the death card. So that's all about yesterday's reading. I don't know what's going to come up for today. I am using the Shadowscapes Tarot by Stephanie Pui-Mun Law and Barbara Moore. Card turning. Oh, I have all of them in my hand in reverse. Queen of Cups in reverse. I've been meditating. She's been coming up, and this actual very card has been coming up. So an emphasis. I'm going to turn the cards up right in my hand. When I pulled them out of the box, you saw I wasn't doing anything different. Queen of Cups. She actually came up in the reverse. So yeah, she's going to come up in the reverse. If we're not, if when we receive information, we don't breathe in, and it's hard to breathe underwater. When we feel underwater, like the last thing we want to do is take a breath. But when you're in a space where you are underwater and you're engulfed by emotions, it's hard to be a queen, right? It's hard to be anything. You're just in panic. But the Queen of Cups in her upright, and I'm going to turn her upright because all of these cards were backwards in reverse in my hand. I'm going to turn her upright because what we need, everything we need, is something that we can call in. She is just a fabulous figure. And in her upright, she just calls in what she needs. She just reaches out her arms. Again, and what did I say in that death card at the end? Surrender. And she welcomes what comes. When we're in that pause, when we take in the information and we just breathe it in, we welcome it in. We welcome it in without automatically, slicing and dicing, in an immature page fashion. Page of Swords came up yesterday. So rather than being in an immature fashion, an immature way, and just, making decisions straight out the gate once the information comes in and responding far too quickly, she takes time to feel what she's got to feel. She brings it in, she feels it, starts to strategize, call in what she needs, and bring in the element of feeling like, okay, let's now look at it through this dimension. How do I actually feel about this? Oh, this really makes me feel like really anxious. Okay, go again, more reason to pause. There's no reason to respond in an urgent way. When I was in the hospital, so I'll use this as an example, and I see an ambulance driving by with flashing red lights at a slow pace. Like we see these things that, cause us to be in an alarmed fashion, like we've got to respond. And I think I referred to this in yesterday's reading about maybe something came up that you scrambled and you reacted in a way, but that doesn't mean that when this situation approaches you again, you're going to go in the same way. You've learned. You've taken that pause. You've gotten some information. No need to take that information and believe that you're going to respond the very same way. And even if you do, you're capable of righting the situation pretty darn quickly. Because you're adding in, like, how did this make me feel last time? So in the reverse, it's like, you know what? That's an automatic. I don't need to respond to this right away. But it doesn't mean that it's whatever's on offer sucks and you don't want it. It just means you need to take some time to consider maybe a different approach. Let me see how this actually makes me feel. Let me sit with this for a little while. Let me take a slow pace. Turtles are in here. They don't go fast. They do not go fast. And these are sea turtles. They live forever. There's plenty of time. Plenty of time. Let's see what else we have in this reading. Queen of Cups. She's kind of my favorite in this deck. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. Oh, here. What do we have? Nice Four of Swords. Yeah. Take your time. Meditate. This card came up, in one of the readings last week? Take your time. Make considerations about how you feel and know that you aren't going to use your emotions in an unskillful way, in a way that's manipulative. This is manipulative as fuck. And when you come into situations that are manipulative and emotionally manipulative, now you're going to take your time. And taking time in meditation, taking the time, taking any kind of pause, returns you to sanity, returns you to an appropriate response that you really, that is this combination. It is that Lover's card. What also was in the bottom of the deck was the Seven of Swords. Again, card of theft. And again, but that's a 7. That's taking in information and then running off with your hair on fire. That's what the Seven of Swords kind of means to me. It's not. It should be taking in spirit. But in its upright position, the opportunity is there to like take the pause, not run away from the circus. I didn't show that, you show that one at the end because, I didn't want the reading to go on forever. I could just riff on this stuff forever. But yeah, we have the Four of Swords as the central card of the reading. And you know what? There are dahlias here. Dahlias are resilience. Dahlias are resilience. You are resilient. You can meet each moment. And the Queen of Cups takes care of everybody around her. She's very nurturing. In this way, not nurturing. She's selfish. She's self-serving. Again, like using feelings and, it's just emotional blackmail. So if that's going on around you, great. Great to know. And we move on. You use our meditation to come to a better understanding of how we feel about the situation, and also to have compassion, to draw in, to put her in her upright, and to have compassion for all aspects of the situation, your own feelings. Again, not a card of action. We're not using these swords to like slice and dice. We're using them to create maybe some boundaries. A 4 is like a structure. 4 walls is a structure. So we create a little boundary of time, using time and space. Using breath, focusing on my breath. Taking those, 3 to 10 breaths can be automatically meditation and can be a game changer. Focusing on the fact that we all breathe. Everybody has, hi Vesper, breath. Everybody's breathing and we're all breathing the same air. What kind of air do you want to, it doesn't, Jesus Christ said, it doesn't matter what's going in, it matters what's coming out. Breath, communication. Whatever your, opinions are about the Christ consciousness, it was love and forgiveness. It wasn't this. It's love and forgiveness. What else do we have? Remember all of those blessings from yesterday. They're here and they're on offer. They weren't for one day. Let's build upon them. We have 2 more cards coming out. What do we have? 6 of Cups again. This card continues to come up and come up and come up. And the 5 of Wands. So this is creative endeavors that things that we're passionate about. This is an action card. But it's a 5. It's, it's maybe there's a little chaos going on here. There's a lot of foxes like all over the place. What is even happening right now? So these came out together. So 6 of Cups. So again, remembering, this brings in a child, like, let's remember that we are all children of the universe. We are all here on a journey. We're all here on an individual journey. So that creates a little chaos, because we're each individuals. But that doesn't mean we need to kick everybody out of our sandbox. You know what? Maybe we go play on the swings for a little while, or the slide, or whatever makes you happy. And you're not mad about Sally, who wants to like play with all your toys. Fine, give Sally your toys. Go Do your thing. And you can go do your thing. But this is not the Five of Swords. It's the Five of Wands, which is, again, a more playful kind of tussling. And all of these cards are temporary energies. This Queen in her reverse might represent somebody. The court cards can sometimes represent somebody who you know. Whereas, these are more, again, these are all temporary energies. These are the things that we encounter on the day to day. They're not major themes. Bottom of the deck is the Four of Wands. So again, another beautiful card. Again, 4 is structure. 4 is always structure and where you belong. We belong in beauty. We belong in harmony. This is a very harmonious card. Everything, all their swords on their, they're like unicornish, whatever these creatures are pointing to that sun. And the Magician is also at the bottom of the deck. So we make it what we want to make it. Five of Swords is at the bottom of the deck too, under there. But, again, it's, you make it what you breathe it in. You take that pause. Take the pause. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. That's the reading for Sunday, March 15th. Again, my name is Lisa Maxwell. If you want your own private reading, direct message me on any of the platforms, YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook. I will post this and you can share it from that to anyone who you think needs this message. Like, share, subscribe. That gets the messages out. Like I said, it's those wonderful social media algorithms, which I really know nothing about. I just know they exist and I know that's a thing. Anyway, again, playful energy. Whatever. I'm just here to do me and to help you have a wonderful day. I love you and you take care.